Have you ever felt your manifestation was so close only to watch it slip away the moment doubt returned? You felt it, believed it, and saw it clearly in your imagination, but then you looked at your reality and let the evidence pull you back. The truth is, most people do not fail because they cannot manifest. They fail because they cannot stay. Good evening, my friends. Tonight I want to share something that may completely change the way you see manifestation. Because after years of learning the techniques, practicing the methods, repeating the affirmations, visualizing your dreams, and trying to feel the wish fulfilled, many people still find themselves asking one painful question: why hasn't it happened yet? You have learned the principles. You understand imagination, revision, and the power of assumption. You have felt those beautiful moments when, even for a few minutes, your desire felt real and you became the person who already had everything you wanted. And yet, when you opened your eyes the next morning, the old reality was still there. The same circumstances, the same problems, the same unanswered questions. And that is where most people unknowingly lose the manifestation they were creating. Not because they failed, not because they are incapable, and not because the law stopped working, but because they mastered the art of entering the state and never learned the deeper art of staying there. The secret is not simply feeling your desire for a few moments before sleep. The secret is becoming so familiar with that version of yourself that it feels natural, normal, and like home. Your imagination is not a place you visit occasionally. It is the place where your future is born. Most people treat their desired reality like a beautiful hotel. They enter it for a short time, enjoy the feeling, experience the emotions, and then walk away. But a new life is not created by visiting a new identity for 20 minutes. It is created by moving in, by deciding, this is who I am now. This is the reality I belong to. This is the version of myself I return to, no matter what my senses show me. Because the world around you is always reflecting the state you consistently occupy. And this is where many people make the mistake. They wake up after feeling successful, loved, wealthy, or fulfilled. And the first thing they do is look outside themselves for proof. They check their phone, they look at their bank account, they examine their circumstances, they ask, has it happened yet? And in that single moment, they unknowingly return to the old identity. They move from being the person who already has it to the person who is waiting for it. And the difference between those two states changes everything. Waiting says, I don't have it yet. Faith says, it is already mine. Fear says, I need evidence before I believe. Assumption says, I believe and the evidence will follow. Your reality does not respond to what you want occasionally. It responds to who you are repeatedly. A state is not just an emotion you feel for a moment. A state is your inner identity. It is the collection of thoughts you naturally think, the beliefs you automatically accept, the expectations you carry, and the version of yourself you return to again and again. Imagine your consciousness as a giant mansion. Every room represents a different version of you. There is a room where you feel powerless, a room where you feel rejected, a room where you feel like life is always difficult. But there is also another room, the room where you are confident, the room where you are loved, the room where opportunities find you, the room where you know everything is working in your favor. Both rooms exist within consciousness. The question is not whether you can enter the room you desire, you already can. The question is, which room are you choosing to live in? Because the moment you stop visiting your desired identity and start living from it, everything begins to shift. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you search for evidence, before your old story has a chance to speak, give yourself 30 seconds. 30 seconds to remember who you are. Feel the peace of already having what you desire. Feel the confidence of someone whose life is unfolding perfectly, not because you are pretending, but because you are choosing the state from which your new reality is created. And remember this, you do not have to fight the old reality. You do not have to force things to change. You simply stop returning to the version of yourself that created it. You choose again. You return again. And every time you return to the state of the wish fulfilled, you are strengthening the identity that creates your future. The old state will try to call you back. It will knock on the door of your consciousness and remind you of who you used to be. It will whisper, are you sure this is real? What if nothing changes? What if you are only imagining things? But understand this clearly. You do not have to fight with the old version of yourself. You do not need to debate with doubt, spend hours analyzing every negative thought, or prove to fear that it is wrong. The moment you argue with the old state, you are giving it your attention, and attention is what keeps a state alive. Instead, simply notice that an old pattern is speaking and gently return. Return to the feeling of already being the person you desire to become. Return to the identity you have chosen. Return home. Because transformation does not happen through one massive moment of discipline. It happens through thousands of small decisions. 1,000 quiet moments where you choose the new story instead of the old one. 1,000 moments where you say, "No, I am not going back there. This is not who I am anymore. I choose the version of myself that already has what I desire." This is how a new state becomes permanent, not through perfection, not through never having another negative thought, but through your willingness to return every single time you notice you have drifted away. And now we need to talk about something even deeper, your inner conversation. Because this may be the most powerful thing you control, yet it is the thing most people ignore. Right now, there is a voice inside your mind, a voice that has been with you your entire life. It comments on everything. It remembers the past. It predicts the future. It judges situations. It creates stories about what things mean. And this invisible conversation happening inside you is constantly shaping the state you live from. The question is, what is that voice saying when nobody is watching? Not during your meditation, not while repeating affirmations, not when you are intentionally trying to feel positive, but during normal moments, when you are driving, when you are alone, when you are doing simple tasks throughout the day. Is your inner voice saying, "I hope this works. When will it finally happen? Maybe I am doing something wrong. Maybe this is impossible for me." Or is it saying, "It is already done. I trust the process. I am grateful for the life I am living. Everything is moving into place for me"? These two conversations come from two completely different identities. One comes from someone waiting, the other comes from someone who has already accepted. Your inner conversation is not just a reflection of your state, it is the creator of your state. The thoughts you repeatedly entertain become the emotional environment you live in. If your mind constantly speaks the language of lack, fear, and uncertainty, you continue returning to that reality. But when your inner voice begins to sound like the person you want to become, something shifts. You are no longer chasing a future version of yourself. You are becoming that person now. So begin to listen, not with judgment and not with frustration, but with awareness. Ask yourself, is this the voice of the person I want to be? If it is not, gently change the conversation. Do not force fake positivity or repeat words your heart does not accept. Instead, create a natural conversation that feels true for the version of you who already has what you desire. The old voice says, "I am still struggling. When will things finally change?" The new voice says, "I am becoming more abundant every day. Life is opening for me in ways I can see and ways I cannot yet see." The old voice says, "They have not contacted me. Maybe they do not care." The new voice says, "I am loved. I am valued. The right connections flow naturally into my life." The old voice says, "What if things never improve?" The new voice says, "I trust my journey. I trust my body. I trust life to guide me forward." This is not something you do once. This is a practice you carry throughout your day. Every time the old story appears, you have a choice. Follow it or rewrite it. And slowly, through repetition, the new conversation begins to feel natural, not because you forced it, but because you heard it enough times that it became familiar, and familiarity becomes identity. Now let me give you 3 simple anchors that will help you remain in the state even when the outside world appears unchanged. The first anchor is feeling. Do not reserve the feeling of your fulfilled desire only for your morning practice or nighttime visualization. Carry it with you. Throughout your day, pause for a few seconds and reconnect with the feeling of already being that person. 30 seconds is enough. Feel the confidence of someone who knows they are supported. Feel the peace of someone who knows things are working out. Feel the gratitude of someone who has already received. Then continue your day. These small returns are powerful because they stop you from unconsciously drifting back into the old identity. The second anchor is gratitude, but not gratitude from a place of waiting. Not, "Thank you because I hope this happens someday." Instead, Thank you because it is already becoming my reality. Gratitude is powerful because it places you in the energy of having instead of needing. You cannot fully experience gratitude and desperation at the same time. One says, I already have. The other says, I am still searching. Choose the state of having. Choose the identity of the person who knows their desire is already accepted within them. Gratitude has a power most people underestimate because you cannot truly thank life for something you believe is completely absent. Real gratitude requires a deeper decision. It requires you to step into the identity of the person who has already received. When you say thank you from a place of fulfillment, you're no longer waiting. You're no longer begging. You're no longer looking at the future hoping something changes. You are accepting. You are claiming. You are living from the state of already having. That is why gratitude is one of the strongest anchors for remaining in the desired state. Throughout your day, whenever your desire comes to your mind, do not approach it with anxiety. Do not ask, when will it happen? Why hasn't it happened yet? What am I doing wrong? Instead, pause for a moment and simply say, thank you, it is already done. Feel the peace behind those words. Feel the relief of someone who no longer needs to chase, because they know what belongs to them is already moving toward them. Because the assumption of having is the state itself, and the state is what creates. Now, the third anchor is one of the most powerful practices you can use before sleep: revision. Every night, before entering your imagination practice, take a few quiet moments and look back at your day. But do not look back with criticism. Do not search for reasons to judge yourself. Do not replay your mistakes and punish yourself. Instead, look with awareness. Ask, where did I leave the state today? Where did I allow the old identity to take over? Maybe it was a conversation that triggered fear. Maybe it was a moment when you looked at your circumstances and felt discouraged. Maybe it was an old thought that suddenly returned and convinced you that nothing had changed. Find those moments and now rewrite them. See the same scene again, but this time as the person you choose to be. If someone said something that disturbed you, imagine hearing those same words while remaining calm, confident, and secure. If you saw something in your reality that created fear, imagine yourself looking at it with complete inner certainty. If an old thought appeared, imagine yourself noticing it peacefully and returning to your chosen state. Revision is powerful because it does two things. First, it releases the emotional weight of the day. You are no longer carrying old reactions into tomorrow. You are clearing your consciousness before sleep. Second, it trains your mind. Every time you imagine yourself responding from your desired state, you create a new pattern. You are rehearsing the person you are becoming. And when similar moments appear again, that new response becomes easier because you have already practiced it within. This is the complete daily architecture: the morning decision, the hourly return, the gratitude throughout the day, the evening revision, not visiting the desired state, dwelling in it. But now we must talk about the hardest part for many people: the waiting period, the moment after the excitement fades. The first day feels powerful, the first week feels inspiring, but then the second week arrives, then the third, then a month passes, and the physical evidence still looks unchanged. And quietly, a question begins to appear. Am I doing something wrong? Is this really working? Am I missing something? Is it my fault? Understand what is happening in this moment. The old state is making one final attempt to pull you back, but it does not always come through obvious doubt. Sometimes it comes disguised as logic. It sounds reasonable. It says, I am just being realistic. I am only looking at the facts. I am simply trying to understand whether this is working. And the questions may feel intelligent, the uncertainty may feel justified, the absence of visible evidence may feel undeniable, but remember this: what you see today is not necessarily the reflection of your current state. It is often the echo of your previous one. The physical world moves after consciousness changes. The circumstances you are looking at today were created by the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you carried before. They are not a prediction of where you are going. They are a reflection of where you have been. Do not allow yesterday's reality to decide tomorrow's identity. Do not let an old reflection convince you that a new version of yourself is impossible. You changed the inner voice. You changed the room you are living in. Now the external echo is simply catching up. Your only responsibility is to remain. Stay long enough for the reflection to change. And eventually you reach a place where something inside you becomes completely still. A state of peace, a state of knowing, a state where you no longer need constant proof. This is what true inner rest feels like. You have imagined it, you have accepted it, and now you simply live from that assumption. You are no longer checking every moment to see if it arrived. You are no longer searching for signs. You are simply being the person who already belongs to that reality. The desire stops feeling distant. It stops feeling extraordinary. It becomes normal, natural, expected. And that is when you know you have truly entered the state. Because what you once dreamed about no longer feels like something separate from you. It feels like who you are. Remember this: staying in the state does not mean you never fall out. You will have moments of doubt. You will have moments where old thoughts return. That is not failure. That is the practice. The mastery is not becoming someone who never drifts. The mastery is becoming someone who always returns, without guilt, without frustration, without judging yourself. Simply noticing, I left the state, and then I am back. Every return strengthens you. Every return makes the new identity more familiar. Every return makes the old identity weaker. Until one day you realize something beautiful. The state you once had to consciously create has become your natural home. The old version of you feels distant. The new version feels normal.